Hello guys and welcome back to TNT Madness. Today we're going to be looking at a very strong wall, and that is a regen filter, and I'll be going over why it's so strong in just a second. So this wall was originally shown to me by a friend of mine called Jack, who used to do YouTube, and I was originally going to do it with him a couple of months ago before he quit YouTube. But apart from that, I'm going to be doing it now. So what this wall is it is a regen wall that combines a pancake wall. So it still regenerates, but it has the same properties as a pancake except without being more than one wide, because this one is only one wide. So what this allows you to do is essentially stop every cannon except, of course, fusion cannons, which are extremely complicated, and I don't really know that much about them, but essentially they can just shoot through one block gaps. And this thing excels at stopping essentially every other cannon, because you have got this buffer at the front which essentially does nothing, but then the part between the water and the lava is the actual regen filter. So you can hybrid bust that, but since there's a gap between it, you can't regen bust it the normal way that you would actually do it. So that means that it will still regenerate even after you regen bust it, because you can't turn it into obsidian because the water and the lava will never actually connect. So because of that, you can't technically regen bust it, but you can shoot straight through it with a fusion cannon. But this can actually be fixed by placing another one behind it, but one block higher. So that way you have to fusion cannon it, blow it up, and then fire another fusion cannon behind it. There's probably some other way to raid it, but of course I'm not that experienced with fusion cannons. But this essentially just means you can make one of the strongest defenses in the game by only having two walls, which is pretty ridiculous in my opinion. So now I'm just going to show firing at it, and then I'll be doing a tutorial. So now on to firing this, just to show that it blows up, that it can regenerate, and that because of the arc that cannons make, and even if you're firing it pretty much directly straight, it'll still block. The one block gap won't make a difference, it will still block the actual TNT. So what we have here is just the simplest hybrid cannon. Luckily this works across all versions, so we are on 1.8, but it won't matter because this cannon of course works across all versions. So if we fire this over here, and then just look over here and watch it fire, as we can see it is going to blow up the wall. And as you can see, we've got that huge gap, but then of course it regenerates. But it only regenerates in these pieces because the way regen walls work is they only regenerate in the places where you have full lava source blocks, and these middle bits here that are empty, they don't have full source blocks, they're just lava flow blocks. So because of that, it will just regenerate in these main positions, and because of the fact that it's got these gaps again in the regen wall, you can still shoot straight through it, but since there's the gap you can't technically regen bust it because there's no real space in it that you can push the lava away and all that. So anyway, that's this wall. I think it's a really strong wall, and if anyone knows of a way to actually raid it, because I don't, then please tell me in the comments below. But anyway, now on to the tutorial. So now on to the tutorial. So we're going to be building one that is going to be 10 wide, and for building one, the minimum you're going to need is a minimum of 6 across. However, it is technically 5, as the very front block here is going to be a water overlay, because the main water block will be placed in here, and then of course because we'll be having no blocks unless we have a backboard, which is what we did in the main one, because you'll be having that for scaffolding, then you can just get rid of that, and then you can go ahead and place a regular wall, whether it be a normal regen wall or just a simple wrap. Then you can go ahead and place that in the front like so. But then of course what we're going to be doing is we're going to be placing, the water's going to go here, so our main regen block's going to be going here, and then our lava's going to be here, but you're also going to have the lava flow on the going one block behind it, which is going to be here. So if you're going to build a second one, which I would recommend, which I'll explain in a second, but it does mean that you can't have another wall directly behind it, because if you do have water flowing over top of it, then you will get this lava created into cobblestone, which you don't really want, because if you have this behind a regen wall, then you can actually then reverse sand stack and completely destroy the filter really easily, instead of having to build something like an insane fusion cannon or a couple of them or something quite ridiculous. So what I'd recommend is you build two of them, because you can have the first one, and then you can have this one placed one block higher or one block lower depending on what you do, and then have that way if someone somehow does shoot straight through, it'll just hit that block and then ruin their day again. And then of course if they do have a fusion cannon where they destroy that as well, then you can go ahead and make more, but I feel like 2 is just the sweet spot. So what you're going to need for this is you're going to need some scaffolding blocks, some water and some lava, and that's it. However, you're going to need quite a few scaffolding blocks, and I'd recommend you have some sort of nether lava lake. So the first thing you want to do is lay out where you're going to be building this. So you want to find out where your front bit is going to be, so this will be the overlay water source, and if you already have a wall here, then you want to go ahead and go back 4 blocks from there and go down to this area here. You can make this a full block or a slab, it doesn't really matter, but this is just where we're going to be catching the water and lava, as lava will fall here and water will fall here, and it's just so nothing turns into obsidian or nothing goes wrong. However, once you've actually placed that and the water has came down, if someone does blow this up, it will just regenerate, so it's not an issue at all. So the next thing you want to do, which is really basic, is just go ahead and make some sort of tray, so that way you don't get an absolute huge mess and water and lava going everywhere, creating a giant cobblestone pile just around where all the water and lava is going to be going. So we're just going to be doing this giant slab thing around like so. So the next thing you want to do is go ahead and figure out the very highest point where you're going to be building this. So since we're going to be building this in sets of 2, because we'll be placing a block there and the next one will be this high, you want to figure out which is the highest point for you. And then once you have figured that point out, you are then going to go ahead and bring this across, and if you want to make a backboard, you will of course then do it in every single block, but because we don't need a backboard, we're just going to be doing the single one. So once you've got to that height, you then want to go ahead and place water along there like so, and if you want to keep the backboard, you can go ahead and do that, but for the cases of this tutorial, we are just going to be removing it. So once you've actually done that, we are going to go ahead and build the part for catching the lava. So for this bit, you're essentially going to be building it in the same way, but 1 block behind the water, and these blocks are going to be staying here, and you're going to have to build it for every single one. So again, you're going to build it 2 high above each other, and then go ahead and place it so it is at this height. It's just I have barriers here so the water doesn't spill absolutely everywhere. So once you have done that, it should look something like that. Of course, yours may be higher, wider, or shorter, but it should look something like that. So now what you want to do is go ahead and place lava against every single block. How I would recommend you do this is going ahead and placing some sort of scaffolding like so, so you can go ahead and place down the lava like so. And just for the love of all things great, please build from the bottom upwards. So you want to start at the bottom there, and I'm just going to be building some pillars on the side just so it doesn't go everywhere. Please build from the bottom up, as the moment you place your lava down, it's going to cover up everything. So if you build it from the top, then you're not going to know which parts are going to regenerate and which parts aren't. So I'd recommend that you build it from the bottom up, just so you don't be in that sort of situation. So now once you've done this, you are essentially complete. So all you want to do to make sure that this works is go ahead and destroy a bunch of blocks just to check to see if it does work, and if it turns into cobblestone, then it does work. And for some reason this is not regenerating. So one thing that I forgot to mention is that you're going to need water source blocks at this height here if you want the bottom bit to regenerate, but that probably won't matter, as unless someone is shooting from the bottom here and you have all your valuable stuff at the bottom, then I would, but if you don't, then it shouldn't be an issue because this bottom bit down here regenerates anyway. But it's a tiny thing if you do want the best defense. So after you've done that, everything should work perfectly fine, and what I'd recommend you do next is do the exact same thing but build it 1 block higher. And of course, this is the reason for this is so that, of course, if someone does shoot through here, because you can with a fusion cannon, which is just a cannon that can shoot with 1 block, shoot the hammer and everything in 1 single block, can shoot through there, and then instead of actually going through and hitting other walls, it will just hit your regen filter, blow up, and if it's a hybrid, it will blow up your regen, but then because it's a regen, it will then regenerate, and you essentially ruin their day and make a near unraidable base out of 2 walls. So that's pretty much going to be it for this video and this tutorial. But if you guys like these types of videos, then please give it a like and tell me what you think of this wall, and if you have any other walls that you think are stronger than this, or are really strong walls that you just think are worthy of, you know, being unraidable. But anyway, hope you guys did enjoy this video. I have tried to fix my mic. I've actually unlisted my other video because my mic sounded horrible. And if my mic sounds alright, please tell me. But anyway, goodbye from TNT Madness.